What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ, this is Out of Bounds, and in today's video we've got another NBA PrizePicks board breakdown for January 25th. It's about a quarter till 11 here on the East Coast, so the projections you see in today's video can and probably will change, as I mentioned in all of the videos. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Here on Out of Bounds, we talk about everything from daily fantasy sports to all the hottest off-the-field sports stories and news. So if you're into sports like I am, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, like this video, and share it with the entire world. And it would really, really help us grow. We're already over 250 subscribers in just our first month. So I love all the support, all the momentum that you guys are putting behind this channel. I do this for you guys. I want it to be all about you, and I want to create content that you like. So let's keep it going. Tonight we got a pretty big NBA slate to talk about. There's about 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. 10 games, so not a small one, a pretty large one in contrast. So let's talk injuries real quick. Kyle Lowry is questionable tonight with a foot. Jimmy Butler is out still due to COVID protocol. LeBron James questionable with an ankle. Jason Tatum is probable. So Jason Tatum making his return. He's been out for Boston for the last few games. Wendell Carter doubtful with a quad injury. Al Horford doubtful due to personal issues. Yusuf Nurkic out indefinitely. CJ McCollum out indefinitely. We know that. Karl Anthony Towns is still out for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Pascal Siakam is questionable due to left knee swelling. D'Angelo Russell is questionable due to a quad contusion. Joel Embiid is questionable with back tightness, probably from carrying the 76ers team all season. Aaron Gordon questionable with hip and back soreness. And I think that's the majority, the main ones that we need to talk about. All of those guys that I mentioned have a 10 impact rating. So let's move on to some projections. We'll be using Roto Grinders today. I already have it preloaded with all of the FanDuel projections for tonight. And in case you're wondering why I do that, well, FanDuel and PrizePicks, they use the same exact scoring system. So it really helps us out and makes things easy on us. First guy we're going to talk about is Joel Embiid. The Philadelphia 76ers are slated to take on the Detroit Pistons at 7:10 p.m. As we mentioned, he may not play tonight, but we're going to talk about him anyway. Projected at 50 points tonight. Let's see where they like Embiid over on Roto Grinders. They got him at 48.95, close enough for me to call it 49. Let's open up his game logs and see what he's been up to. His last one was against Detroit, 57.3. So, guys, a big over on tonight's projection there. We know he can get it done against Detroit, as he proved in his last game. 53.7 against Boston, 65 against Boston. Missed this game against Memphis, but going back to Miami here, he only played 23 minutes in that one, 16.5, so we can throw that one out. And going back one more game against Miami, once again, 84.2 points. So Embiid has been a monster. We know what he's capable of. He's one of the best big men, if not the best big man in the league. So there you have it on Embiid. Now, if he does play tonight, they've got him projected to play 33 minutes. He's a versatile big man. Versatile bigs versus Detroit have no problems eating, as we saw from Joel Embiid's first game log when we opened that up. They ranked 26th against big men. He's playing 3 games in 4 nights, playing nearly 32 minutes a night, 1.6 fantasy points per minute. One of very few people putting up 1.6 fantasy points per minute or more. So very good number there for Embiid. And then a 31.18 usage rating, putting him in elite category there. 30 or more on the usage is awesome. I mean, very, very few people are able to do that. Now, looking at this game total and spread, Philadelphia is a sizable favorite on the road, 111. Detroit projected for 104.5 points. So that puts it at 5-6 point spread in that category. So you got to be careful, with this game. This one could get out of hand. It all really depends, though. If a guy like Embiid doesn't play, well, then I think this spread gets a bit closer, a bit tighter, and it becomes more competitive. So just keep an eye on the news. And if you're in the Discord channel, well, you already know that we've got the news feed going around the clock. So all the latest NBA news is fed right into the Discord. It's a really, really nice feature, and I'm glad I added it. And by the way, if you're not a part of the Discord, well, I'll leave a link down in the description of this video. You can join the Discord for free. We're talking PrizePicks, NBA, NFL, CSGO, college basketball, you name it, we play it. I think we have the #1 PrizePicks Discord in all the world, and it's quickly growing. And I'm adding a premium PrizePicks channel. More on that to come in the near future. So let's move on to the next guy here. Jeremy Grant's been a very popular name to click the over on in recent days. He's projected tonight for 38 points against this Philadelphia 76ers team. So let's take a look and see where RotoGrinders has Jeremy Grant projected tonight. Well, guys, it looks like it's going to be another situation where the over on Jeremy Grant is definitely in play for full game formats. He's projected for 40.81 points. That's almost 41 points. You got to love that. Let's see what he's been up to in his last few. His last one, I know a few of you were disappointed. His last one against Philadelphia, 33 points there. You know, it was a pretty respectable game, but not what we expected when we clicked the over on Jeremy Grant in a full game format. So kind of a letdown. Going back one further, 38 against Houston, 45 against Atlanta, 41 against Miami, 61 against Miami there. Huge one. So we know Jeremy Grant has been on fire. He's been going over his PrizePicks projections most nights. He has kind of tapered off a little bit, kind of fallen off a little bit here. So let's see what he is projected to play tonight. 36 minutes against Philadelphia. He's a versatile forward. Philly ranks third in the league against versatile forwards. Maybe that had some impact on Grant in the last game, or maybe it was just a bad game. We'll see tonight. This is 3 games and 4 nights for Grant. He's playing over 36 minutes a night at 36.5, 1.12 fantasy points per minute, and putting up a impressive 25.97 usage total. So not in that elite category there of 30 or more, but still 25 to 30 is very, very good. So you love to see that with Jeremy Grant. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Toronto Raptors versus the Indiana Pacers. We talked Pascal Siakam. He's on the injury report. So we'll skip over him and we'll talk Fred VanVleet, the point guard / shooting guard for the Toronto Raptors, facing off against the Indiana Pacers at 7:10 p.m. He's projected for 35 points tonight. Let's see what VanVleet's been up to. He's kind of cooled off in the last few games earlier in the season. About 2 weeks ago, I mean, this guy was on fire. Clicking the over every night was working out for us, and he was putting up 40-plus fantasy points per game. But tonight, they've got him at 37.92 on RotoGrinders. That's high enough for me to say 38. Let's round up and call it 38. In his last game, he did have a 40-point game, 42 there, and that was against Indiana, so this is a rematch against the Pacers. 33.5 in the one before that. Here's another 40-burger, 44.5. 29.8 and 40.4. So it's been an up, down, up, down, up type of pattern recently for Fred VanVleet. What will be in store for us tonight? Well, let's find out. Fred VanVleet's projected to play 37 minutes. He is a combo guard. Indiana does decent against combo guards, ranking 8th in all the league against combo guards. This is a back-to-back and 3 games and 4 nights for Fred VanVleet, so he's been playing a lot lately, a lot of games in a short span. He's getting over 36 minutes a night, averaging over 1 fantasy point per minute, and his usage is almost at that very good marker of 25. He's at 24.16 usage rating. Now, taking a look at the game totals and spread of this one's looking like it's going to stay close here. We've got Indiana 109.5. They're a 2.5 point favorite at home versus Toronto. So you can feel comfortable probably playing, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam if he plays, and all of the other Raptors and Pacers in first half game, or full game formats. And I don't think this one's going to blow out from what it looks like. So there you have it on Fred VanVleet, the over looking like the way to go for him. Now let's talk another guy from this game, Indiana Pacers. Big man, Domantas Sabonis. We haven't talked about him in a couple of videos now, so he's projected for 47, which to me kind of seems high at first glance. First impressions, I think that's high, but let's check and see what he's done in recent memory here. Well, RotoGrinders, they've got him at 44.96, so that would be 45 if we round it up, but still that would be an under on his projection versus PrizePicks. In his last game against Toronto, he only managed 37.3. So the under tonight looks like it might be in play based on his recent game against Toronto, based on his projection tonight from RotoGrinders. But if we look at his last few, 56.7 against Orlando, 42 against Dallas. Against the Clippers, 49.8, and then 51.5 against Portland. So, in his last 5 games, he has gone over tonight's projection of 47 3 out of 5 times. But as I mentioned, he did struggle against Toronto in his last game, so maybe that happens again tonight. But let's check and see how many minutes he's expected to play. They've got him playing 38 minutes tonight. He's a post-up big man. Toronto ranks 10th in the league against post-up bigs. This is a back-to-back and 3 games in 4 nights for Sabonis, so fatigue could play a factor here. He's averaging over 38 minutes per night, putting up an impressive 1.2 fantasy points per minute, and he's almost up there around that 25 usage rate mark. He's at 23.9, almost at 24, so pretty good usage there for Domantas Sabonis. Take him in first half, take him in full game. The game doesn't look like it's going to blow out, but if you are taking him, I would probably lean toward the under based on recent game logs and his projection tonight. So there you have it. Let's move along here. We've got the Charlotte Hornets versus the Orlando Magic. And I think we talked Gordon Hayward recently, so tonight or today we're going to talk LaMelo Ball. We're going to get back on the ball, so to speak. He's projected for 29 points tonight. Seems a bit low at first glance, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see here. Where is Mr. Ball? I think he might be a point guard. Let's see, filter all that out. There he is. Wow, he's kind of down the line here. But they like the over on LaMelo Ball. He's at 30.98. Let's call it 31, if you don't mind. And then open up his game logs here. 28 in his last one, 12.2, 22, 44.7, and 17.9. So, guys, in his last 5, he's been stinking up the joint. Now, if you look at his previous 5, it's going back 6 through 10, much better totals here. So what's going on? Can we figure out what is going on with Ball here? Well, 25 minutes, 26 minutes, 22 minutes, 16 minutes, 27 minutes. We know he's not playing big minutes. There was just a video that I posted actually about LeVar Ball, his father, talking about LaMelo and being unhappy coming off the bench and saying that his son's not a role player. So if you go to my playlist, you'll go to the Out of Bounds News. You'll see that video in there. You guys can check that out. But his minutes have been kind of down lately and kind of been all over the place, really not getting consistent minutes. I'm wondering how much of his unhappiness is seeping out into his play each night. But let's take a look and see where his minutes are tonight. They've got LaMelo playing 26 minutes against Orlando. This is a rematch against Orlando, by the way, where he put up 28 fantasy points in his last matchup. He is a distributor, and Orlando not very good against distributors. They rank 25th in the league. This is a back-to-back and a 3 games and 4 night situation for Ball. He's playing almost 25 minutes a night, averaging an impressive 1.25 fantasy points per minute. So when he's out on the floor, guys, he's productive. The problem is he's not getting out on the floor nearly enough for my taste, and he's putting up an impressive 25.77 usage rating. So I see a lot of potential from this guy. I wish the Hornets would play him more over the likes of like Devontae Graham, but for whatever reason, they're letting him learn the slow way. So there you have it for LaMelo Ball. Let's take a look at the game totals and spread here. It looks like Charlotte's going to be a 1-point road favorite versus Orlando, 107.25. Orlando, 106.25. So the game should stay close. It should stay competitive. I don't see this one being a blowout. If I'm not mistaken, Charlotte just barely beat Orlando I think it was last night. So I expect another close one here. And hopefully LaMelo Ball gets more play. But guys, based on his recent game logs and stuff, I might have to take the under on Ball or just fade him altogether. But that's up to you. Let's talk another rookie point guard from this game who's been playing a lot better recently since the untimely departure of Markelle Fultz due to a torn ACL, and that's Cole Anthony. The former UNC Tar Heel is now the Orlando Magic starting point guard. He's projected for 25 fantasy points tonight. So I'd like to see that little matchup there between Ball and Anthony, 2 of the game's best young point guards in my opinion. Let's see where they like Mr. Cole Anthony tonight. Well, we got to go down a ways here. They've got him at 24.85 over on Roto Grinders. That's close enough for me to call it 25. So let's round up to 25 for Anthony. And look at his recent game logs here. He had 33 fantasy points in his last one, so pretty strong game from the rookie there. 23 in his last one, in the second game back, 27.93 games ago, 18.5 there, and then a big game against Brooklyn, 42.6. So in his last few games, guys, he's struggling to get to that 25 mark. He's done that 1, 2, 3 times. So we'll say 3 out of 5 he's gotten to 25 or more fantasy points. So little inconsistent there. I'd like to see like 4 out of 5 or maybe 5 in a row where he's broken that mark. So there's a little volatility with Cole Anthony, which is to be expected from a rookie. He's playing 29 minutes tonight, according to Roto Grinders, is a combo guard. Charlotte ranks 14th against combo guards. This is a back-to-back and 3 games and 4 nights for the Orlando Magic. 25.7 minutes per game, so almost 26 minutes per game. 0.88 fantasy points per minute, and he's putting up 22.5 usage rate. So, not the best fantasy point per minute metrics or usage rate metrics for Cole Anthony. He's not the number one option here. That would be Mr. Vucevic. We all know that, but not bad there. It's kind of hard to trust what Anthony's going to do tonight, though. So let's move on to the next game, though. We've got the Miami Heat taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Very good matchup here. I really wish Jimmy Butler was healthy for this one so we could kind of get a real fair look at both teams and see how they match up, but he's not. So let's talk Miami Heat. We'll go Mr. Bam Adebayo. He's projected for 45 points tonight. Let's take a look and see where they've got him on tonight. Let's scroll up. There he is, 46.92. Let's round it up and call it 47 for Bam. So they're pretty much on the money, on the mark with PrizePicks. In his last game, 62.5, and that was against Brooklyn, guys. So he absolutely feasted on the Brooklyn Nets front court. The game before that, though, 25.6, 38.1, so a couple of really down games there. 50.7 and 52.4. So he's got some really good games with some really bad ones sandwiched in between. So hopefully tonight he can do something close to what he did against Brooklyn in their first meeting. He's projected to play 35 minutes tonight, is a versatile big. The Nets rank dead last against versatile bigs, 30th in the league, so very good matchup here for Bam. As we saw from his previous game log, he did work. 3 games in 4 nights, playing over 32 minutes per game, 1.28 fantasy points per minute, very healthy number there. And his usage is just under 25 at 24.67. But we talked about before, big guys, they don't have to have a super high usage rating because, they're not typically like primary ball handlers or even secondary ball handlers. Most of the time, they're going to be getting, those offensive rebounds, putbacks, alley-oops, and stuff like that. So you don't have to have a super high usage rating for your big men in order for them to produce from a fantasy points perspective. Let's look at the game totals and the spread. Brooklyn, 121.25. Miami, 113.75. So you're looking at about a 7-8 point spread here. There's a little potential here for a blowout, so I'd probably stick to playing it safe and taking first half overs on guys like Bam, guys like KD, Kyrie, James Harden on the other side of this game. So that's how I'm feeling about this approach. I don't know that taking a full game would be smart on a potential blowout. So let's move on and talk Kyrie Irving. We have too many stars here on this Brooklyn Nets team, so we're going to talk Kyrie out of the 3. Projection for tonight is 43. Let's take a look and see where they like him on Roto Grinders. Kyrie finally back with the Brooklyn Nets, starting to get acclimated and acquainted with his new teammate, James Harden and company. He's projected for 44.66 tonight, so right around that 44, 45 point range. In his last 3 games, they've been pretty good. 46.7, 47.7, and a 51.9, but he did play 48 minutes in that one, so had to play a ton of minutes to get up to that 50-point mark. Tonight, in this matchup against Miami, let's see how many minutes he's projected to play. 35 minutes. He's a combo guard. Miami ranking close to dead last in the league against combo guards, 29th in the league. 3 games and 4 nights, playing nearly 35 minutes a game, putting up an impressive 1.35 fantasy points per minute and over 30 usage rating, 31.10. You love to see that from a guard like Kyrie. So There's another situation, like I mentioned, first half overs may be the way to go. Kyrie's been crushing this 43. I kind of like the overplay on Kyrie Irving. I don't think 43 is quite enough based on what I've seen recently. Let's move along here. We got another game to talk about. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. That game tips off at 8:10 p.m. Lots of star power on the LA side. Tonight we're going to talk Anthony Davis. Both he and LeBron are projected for 49 fantasy points. Let's see what AD has been up to lately after we check his projection. They got him projected at 46.81, so that'd be a slight under on tonight's projection, putting him right around that 47-point mark. In his recent games, 56.7 against Chicago, big game there. 44.8, pretty good game. 61.9, an even bigger game, Golden State Warriors, 49.7 against the Pels, and 27.9 against OKC. Against Cleveland, I don't see a previous game log here. Of course, this is going to be at Cleveland, so maybe there's some extra fuel, extra motivation for LeBron James. But we're talking Anthony Davis here. So he's projected to play 34 minutes tonight. He's a versatile big. Versatile bigs versus the Cavs. This is a tough matchup on paper. They rank 12th against versatile bigs. 2 games and 3 nights for AD. 32.4 minutes per game. Putting up 1.42 fantasy points per minute. You love to see that. And 26.22 usage rating. So very good numbers for fantasy points per minute. Very good numbers for usage for Anthony the Brow Davis. Now, looking at tonight's game total and spread, well, LA is a huge favorite. This has blowout written all over it. Stay away from this one in full game formats unless you want to take the under on these stars and you don't think that they're going to get it done. And you think this game's going to basically be a short one for guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, maybe even a Colin Sexton, guys like that. They may end up, resting the entire fourth quarter here based on this spread of about 10 points. So got to be careful and, maybe just stick to playing first half overs on the stars. Or if you're going full game, maybe taking the unders there. So let's move along. Let's talk Colin Sexton. We mentioned his name. Projected for 31 tonight. 31 on PrizePicks. Let's see if he can get there. Colin Sexton. I believe he might be a shooting guard. Yep. 30. Let's call it 30 and a half. So between 30 and 31 is his projection on Roto Grinders. His last game was not very good against Boston, but he only played 16 minutes. Just ended up with 12.4 fantasy points, but the one before that, 39.9 against Brooklyn, so nearly 40. 63.5 versus Brooklyn. Of course, he missed a ton of games there, and then going back to Orlando here, 36.6, and then Orlando again, 26.4. So Sexton has those nights where he can just absolutely explode. He can erupt for a big 60 burger for you, but tonight, I don't know if he gets there if this game blows out. He's projected to play just 32 minutes, kind of low. He's a combo guard. Combo guards against LA. LA ranks 9th against combo guards. This is a back-to-back 3 games and 4 nights situation for Sexton, playing almost 35 minutes per game, 1.05 fantasy points per minute, and over 28 usage rating. So very good usage rating for Colin Sexton there. Moving right along, we've got another game to discuss here. Big slate, as I mentioned, trying to make this video as quick as possible, as short as can be. Nikola Jokic, 53 is his fantasy score tonight. I believe the last time he played the Mavericks, he did very well against them. Let's see what he's going to do tonight. 55 is his projection here. So they like the over in a full game format. Let's look at his recent game logs. He's been on fire, guys. 61.4. 61 here against Phoenix. I think both of those games ended up going to overtime, so that's padding his stats quite a bit. 55.4 against OKC, 68.3 against Utah, and 60.8 against Golden State. Now we go back a little further. Against Dallas, 60.2. So I like this matchup for Jokic. If he ends up playing a full run of minutes, I don't think he's projected quite high enough on PrizePicks tonight. He's going to play 35 minutes tonight, according to Roto Grinders. He's a versatile big man. Dallas does not guard versatile bigs well at all. They rank just 29th. 3 games and 4 nights for Jokic. playing almost 36 minutes a night, averaging a very, very, very impressive 1.61 fantasy points per minute. We know he can put up fantasy points in a hurry. And then a usage rating of 30.67, something you do not see from most big men. Jokic and Embiid are like the outliers for usage for bigs. Now, looking at the game totals and the spread here, scroll over here. It looks like this one's going to stay close. Denver is a 1.5 point favorite on the road against Dallas. They're projected to score 112 points. Dallas 110.5. So I love taking the over on a full game format for Nikola Jokic, and I don't even mind a first half format over on Jokic either. So this looks like a good one for Jokic. I'm probably taking the over everywhere that I can. Let's talk the other side of the ball here. Let's talk Luka Doncic, who's only 52 tonight. 52 is his projection. Let's see what RotoGrinders thinks about Doncic. They got him at 54, so that would be a nice little over there for Doncic. And his recent game logs show 44, 61.3, huge game there, 45.4, 33.9, and a 78.7. Huge game there. It's been a little hit or miss. You know, we'd like to see this guy at like 50 plus on a regular basis, but it just hasn't been happening for him in his last 5. But let's go back to see what he did against Denver. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, I don't think he was playing in this game back on January 7th, but Luka still managed over 43 minutes and 78.3 fantasy points. A monster game. As you can see in all of his recent game logs, I mean, that's one of the highest games he's had this season from a fantasy points perspective. Let's take a look and see how many minutes they like him playing tonight. Well, it's not as many as he played the first time against Dallas, but still 36 is good. Combo guard, Dallas, they don't, well, I should say Denver doesn't struggle against combo guards whatsoever. They rank 7th against combo guards. 3 games and 4 nights for Luka, playing 34.5 minutes a night, 1.55 fantasy points per minute. Gotta love that, man. That's a huge number. And the usage, even better, 36.23. He's over the 35 usage mark, guys. There's not too many people who are getting 35 or more as far as usage rating goes. So I love Luka Doncic in full game formats, first half formats. I don't think 52 is high enough on him. I don't think 53 is high enough on Jokic. So I'd probably look to attack the overs on both of those guys and go from there. Let's move along to the next game, though. We've got the Boston Celtics versus the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk Jason Tatum because we've missed Jason Tatum. Tonight, he should be back, though, for Boston after missing a handful of games. This game tips off at 9:10 p.m. His projection, 41 fantasy points. Let's take a look and see where they've got Mr. Tatum tonight. 44.96, so that's 45 points, guys. Let's look at his... Wait. That was the wrong guy. That was Sabonis. Jason Tatum projected for 42.8. Let's call it 43. Still an over, though. Still an over. Let's open his game logs. You can see the last time he played was January 8th. This has been a long layoff for Jason Tatum. It is now January 25th. So we're talking a couple of weeks here. But in his last 5 from the games he has played, 40, 55, 57, and a 41.2. No previous game logs against Chicago. This will be his first time facing the Bulls this season. Will there be some rust? Probably, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that you missed 2 weeks of NBA game time, live action. You could come back a little rusty, a little shaky. His projected minutes are 35 tonight. He is a versatile forward and shouldn't have a problem against this Bulls defense. This is a back-to-back 3 games and 4 night situation for the Celtics, but not for Jason Tatum. This is a first game back in, since January 8th situation for Tatum, as we talked about. He's playing nearly 35 minutes a night, averaging well over 1.2 fantasy points per minute. And his usage is very good too, 30.64. Elite number there for Jason Tatum. Now let's look at the game total and spread and see if this game is projected to stay close. We've got Boston at 117.75, Chicago 111.25. So Boston is about a 6-point favorite on the road. There's a little bit of blowout potential here, so a little hesitancy when recommending taking guys in this game in a full game format, and a little bit more hesitancy with taking any type of over with Jason Tatum. You just don't know, guys. It's kind of a question mark with Tatum. Does he come back and absolutely smash in his first game in almost 2 weeks, or does he get reintroduced to this lineup in these rotations gradually, slowly? Maybe doesn't play as many minutes as everyone thinks. Maybe his conditioning isn't there. I don't know what he's been up to while he's been sitting out due to COVID protocol, but it's going to be a little bit of a question mark on Tatum tonight. Let's talk Zach LaVine, the other star from the other side of this game here. Chicago Bulls swingman, 41 is his projection tonight. Mr. LaVine, where are you at? He is a shooting guard on FanDuel, so 42.2. They like the over on LaVine, a slight over there. If this game plays, all the way out and stays close, that is. His last game, 35 against LA, kind of a letdown there. They were getting smacked and spanked all night long by the LA Lakers. That was a blowout right from the first half, I think. 49.7 against Charlotte, 52.3 against Houston, 32 against Dallas, and 49.4 against OKC. I don't see a previous game log of Mr. LaVine versus the Celtics, so let's move along and talk about minutes. 36 minutes is his projection tonight. He's a scoring wing, and Boston does pretty well against scoring wings, ranking 5th in the league against them. 3 games and 4 nights for LaVine, playing almost 36 minutes a night, 1.2 fantasy points per minute average, and putting up an impressive 30.41 usage rating. So there you have it for LaVine. Tough matchup in a game that could possibly get out of hand, depending on if Tatum, comes back and he's hot, or, if not, then maybe they keep the game close, do the Bulls, and this ends up being a tight one, and doesn't blow out. We'll see. And finally, the last game, the San Antonio Spurs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. We've talked a lot about DeMar DeRozan. I want to switch it up and talk someone else. Let's go Lamarcus Aldridge. He's projected for 28. He hasn't been featured a whole lot on the channel, so we're going to talk about him right now. Lamarcus Aldridge, got to go down a ways. 26.41 is his projection on Roto Grinders. Let's see what the big man, LMA, has been up to in recent games. 23.4 against Washington in his last one. Big game here for him. 41.8 against Dallas. So as I said, guys, Dallas doesn't do a good job guarding big men. So that going back to Jokic, Joker, play him tonight and take the over on him. I really think he can crush again. 10.6 for Aldridge against Golden State, 30.9 for him against Portland, and going back to this one here against Houston, just 8.4. So you want to talk about someone who is volatile, someone who we can't trust, someone whose game logs are all over the place. Well, Lamarcus Aldridge is the definition of that. I don't know that I trust him whatsoever tonight, and I don't see a previous game log of him versus New Orleans, so let's move on and see how many minutes they like him playing tonight. 28 minutes. He's a versatile big, and New Orleans does a pretty good job. They rank 7th against versatile bigs. This is a back-to-back 3 games and 4 nights. So for a guy who's getting up there in years like Lamarcus Aldridge, if this game gets out of hand, if this is not competitive, Aldridge will sit the pine and get some much-needed rest. I'm sure he needs it. 27.5 is his average minutes per game. 0.94 fantasy points per minute. Pretty decent there. And 23.16 usage rating. So let's look at the game total and spread here. It looks like it's going to stay close, guys. 112.25 for the home team, New Orleans Pelicans. 109.75 for the San Antonio Spurs. So should stay within a close spread there, a 2 or 3 point spread. So not worried about this one blowing out whatsoever. Now, we talked about his brother, LaMelo. Let's talk about the older Ball brother, Lonzo Ball, projected for 24 points tonight. Clicking over to point guard, Lonzo, all the way down here, all the way down. There he is. 26.31 is his fantasy points number tonight. In his last game, played more minutes than he has been playing in recent games. 34.3, 19.7, 23.2. He missed 3 games in a row, going all the way back to January 8th. 15.9, and back to January 6th, 21.8. So listen, I know LeVar Ball's saying that his sons aren't freaking role players, but this guy is a role player right now. Unfortunately, he's definitely not a major part of the New Orleans Pelicans team. I would say that the most major parts are Zion Williamson, of course, and Brandon Ingram, and everybody else around those guys are, for the most part, role players. So in his last one, his minutes are up 29. Love to see that. 27. So maybe he's starting to get more run. Maybe he's starting to see the floor more for New Orleans. Let's look at his minutes projection tonight. They like him to play almost 30 minutes, so that would be good. 29 minutes. He's a pass-first point guard. San Antonio ranking 11th against pass-first point guards. 2 games and 3 nights for Zoe. He's averaging almost 32 minutes per game, but as you can see in his last few games, he's not getting anywhere close to over 30 minutes, so you got to throw that little number out the window there. 0.83 fantasy points per minute and a 20.75 usage rating. Not a very good usage rating for a guard. You'd like to see your guards up at 25, 30, maybe. And the fantasy points per minute, he's been better in this metric in years past, but this year, this is pretty low for him. So not a lot of love from me for Lonzo Ball, but if he gets 29, 30 minutes, then maybe he can get there. Maybe he can get that 24 number for you. They do like him to go over by a couple of points on Roto Grinders. But you guys tell me what you think. Who did I get right? Who did I get wrong? Who are you liking? Who are you not liking? Drop their names down in the comments below. I'd love to hear who you guys are playing. Tell me if you're taking the over, the under, and why. I'd like to hear some of your strategies and how you're thinking about certain players tonight. But for now, guys, this is going to do it for me. This has been CJ for Out of Bounds. I wish you guys good luck. Let's make some money tonight. And until the next one, you guys be good. Peace.